If you think of memorable moments from 2006's Borat, you probably think of scenes like this one, or even this one. But what about this scene, when Borat sits alone in his ice cream truck for almost 2 full minutes? What if we told you that scenes like this, the forgettable ones, are the most important scenes in the movie? Because Borat is using a secret weapon, the same thing Eric Andre used more recently in Bad Trip, that makes the movie work. And as we break it down, you'll realize it all comes back to one thing: Pamela Anderson. So let's see how. This video is brought to you by Plotwell. To start, let's quickly review the movie. Borat is often called a mockumentary or a narrative prank movie, meaning it features a series of bits filmed with real people and their reactions. The main character, Borat, is a Kazakhstani journalist sent to America to observe American customs. While there, he and his producer travel across the country in an ice cream van, and along the way they get into many zany situations. Why are they on a road trip? Borat has fallen in love with Pamela Anderson after spotting her on Baywatch and wants to find her in California to get married. This is the plot of the movie, and it's crucial. In fact, take out Pamela Anderson and the movie just would not work. And to understand why this is so important to Borat's success, we need to talk about stories, and more specifically, their structures. Here is a line. It doesn't look like much, but this line is a visual representation of Borat. This line represents the main character's good or bad fortune from the story's start to its end. And yes, this is based on Kurt Vonnegut's Shape of Stories, which he outlined in his book Palm Sunday. Stories with this shape can be summed up like this. A character is living normally until something interrupts their routine. They find success at first, but then begin to fail, and when things seem at their worst, the character has an epiphany and ultimately succeeds. Up, down, up. That's the basic form of something we call story structure. It's a tool used to outline the shape or rhythm of stories. If you want to learn more, we've created a whole course you can find in the description, but for Borat, this is part of its secret weapon. Although the movie is a series of sketches, it follows story structure very, very closely. Here is a breakdown. Borat is living his normal life until he is sent to America and falls in love with Pamela. Things go well for a while as he acquires a car, gets on the news, and sings the national anthem. But there is a clear turn and things go downhill as his producer leaves, his car breaks down, and he sleeps on the street. But then Borat has an epiphany when he finds Jesus, he reconnects with his producer, and in the end finds love, even if it isn't Pamela. And the closer you look at these moments, the clearer they become. Like when things go bad and Borat has an epiphany. That's an integral part of story structure called the moment of peril, rock bottom, and inner gateway, which we dove into in depth in our video on Free Guy. Or how Borat travels to a strange land and then clarifies his goal and sets off. Sound familiar? That's the start of The Wizard of Oz. The most important part of all of this is the goal. It's what propels the movie forward. In this case, it's Borat's journey to marry Pamela Anderson. That goal is the backbone of the story, and without the story, the movie doesn't work. Don't believe us? Believe Eric Andre, writer of Bad Trip, a more recent example of a narrative prank movie. Here's a quote from an interview he did with Entertainment Weekly.
We learned the hard way that story kind of has to come first.
And the director of Bad Trip, Kitao Sakurai, had this to say. Sometimes you'll write a really, really funny prank and need a home for it in the narrative. And so you have to engineer that prank into the story. Otherwise, the prank doesn't work. In Bad Trip, Eric's character is also going on a road trip to find love. That goal propels the story. Without it, the sketches would be far less coherent and satisfying. Because when there's a story, we have a direction of where things are headed. Even if we're watching Bud get stuck in a portable toilet, we're still on that path. Without the path, the movie can feel directionless. And so we come back to Pamela Anderson, the core of why Borat works. Marrying Pamela is Borat's goal, and that goal gives the movie direction. No matter what stops we make along the way, we know where we're heading. As Eric Andre put it in a Vulture article interview, story has to be the foundation of every single movie. And in Borat, that story is all about Pamela Anderson. Without her, the movie just wouldn't work. So even though Borat seems like a series of sketches at first glance, it's actually much deeper. By giving Borat the goal of marrying Pamela, the movie fulfilled the most important part of storytelling. And by following structure patterns, Borat bolstered its story, turning it into a worldwide phenomenon and inspiring movies like Bad Trip. It could have stopped at the sketches, but instead it went deeper, building a story and becoming memorable. And all of that is, in a big part, thanks to Pamela Anderson.